Outdoor markets can be so much fun, but wind can definitely keep you on your toes. Today I'm sharing how we kept our booth safe at a windy art and music festival, plus what products ended up selling best at our market. This is one of my favorite markets that we go to every year, and I can't wait to share with you, so let's dive in. The sun just came up. It is bright and early, and we are headed out to the Clinton Art and Music Festival. This is going to be an all-day art and music festival in the most beautiful village of Clinton. It's one of our favorite annual events. Today I'm going to run through with you. I'm going to show you a little bit of our setup, how we set up our booth, and of course I'm going to give you the top 5 product categories of sales for today. I just love this festival. We have been going for the past few years. It's always a good time. I love doing events in the village of Clinton, so without further ado, let's go head on out. We got to go set up our booth. So it's about noon, we're a couple hours into our market, and as you can see, it is very, very windy. We are struggling with wind today. We've already had one of our sweatshirt rack fell over, so everything's zip tied down. We had to remove everything. It is over 10 miles an hour, which for me is kind of like the breaking point of what is safe. So we're also kind of holding on to our racks just to make sure everything stays sturdy. I'm very anxious today about the wind, but we're just trying to keep everybody safe. I don't really mind if like my product gets dirty. It's all washable. I just want to make sure everyone stays safe in the booth. That's my primary goal. So I'll keep you posted as we go. 1:30 update. It is still very, very windy, but we did manage to tie up our racks to the roof of our tent. So we're going to try to see if that works. I'll put in some footage here so you can see what that looks like. Fingers crossed that the wind dies down a little, although I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be windy the rest of the day. So cheers to my anxiety. See how this goes. Okay, it's almost 4 o'clock, and so I wanted to check in a little update. We modified the booth a little bit to make it a little bit sturdier, told up to the wind so that the displays didn't fall over onto anybody, and they're holding up really well. On occasion, an item might fall off of a shelf, but like, it's not bad, it's holding up. I think wind is my #1 stressor for markets. I don't love wind. I don't love wind at markets, but we're doing well. It's almost 4 o'clock. We have 2 more hours, and so far we're starting to hit our goals. I think it's going to be an interesting one, so we'll see how the last 2 hours go. It's starting to slow down, but so far it's been a good day. I am going to review all of the stats from this market at the end of this video, so be sure to stay tuned. Normally, I like to book indoor markets, but some markets are just too good to pass up, and this art music festival is one of our annual favorites. This festival, we got so lucky. It was such a beautiful day. There was a hurricane trying to come up the coast of the USA, and luckily it went back out into the ocean. So earlier in the week, I thought we were going to get a ton of rain, so I was so excited when we saw sun in the forecast. I saw that it was going to be a little bit windy, but we didn't know it was going to be as windy as it was. We had wind gusts that were 10 to 14 miles an hour, which is enough to make a booth a little bit unsteady. So today I'm going to share with you how we reinforced our booth to make sure that it stayed safe as people shop, and techniques that we used to keep our booth just that much safer when the wind gusts picked up. So the first thing we did, and this is a no-brainer, regardless of wind, even mild wind, this is a #1 item that I use at all of my outdoor markets, and that is sandbags. I weigh down every leg of my tent. No one wants their tent flying around. It's a safety hazard, but also it's just so stressful. So use weights on your tent legs to keep them secure. We put 2 sandbags on every single leg, and at no point in this event was I worried about my tent flying away. Primarily on this, I would say, a gusty day. It wasn't like full sustained winds the whole time, but like there were some serious gusts. I was more worried about my displays. And I know that that can be tricky for anyone selling at markets. I've run into this more than once, and it's always, I get so anxious and so stressed about how do I keep these displays from falling over or products from flying off the shelves. So let's talk about my concern number one, and that was my upright shelving unit displays. These are, I'd say, relatively new. We've had them for maybe 6 months. I have a couple videos that I can share up above here of when we switched over to having more shelving displays rather than low table displays, and I love them. I think they keep my product neat and organized, but on a windy day, they're easier to topple over. They're a little bit more like top heavy, like they're more likely to catch the wind because they add height to my booth. I was very stressed about how we were going to secure these to make sure they didn't topple over. Now, on an indoor event or on a calm day, it's no problem. Easy peasy. But because winds were so gusty, I had one shelf even fall over, and I just didn't want it to fall over onto any customers, and it didn't, but I wanted to make sure it wasn't going to, so we had to reinforce them. Originally, I had my display set up like I always do for my indoor markets. It was nice and pretty, but sometimes we have to take safety over aesthetics. So I moved all of my displays toward the outer corners of my tent where I could secure them to the legs of my booth. I already mentioned that the legs were secured by sandbags, and this just helped make sure that they weren't going to less likely to fall over. So in order to reinforce it, we actually tied those display racks to the upper metal canopy part of our tent. And this actually worked out really well. We used like a slip knot in order to, really tighten it down to make sure they were secure, but I felt a lot safer. Up until then, I was kind of like holding my racks while people shop just to make sure that nothing went flying. I mean, it probably wasn't going to, wasn't like that windy, but I don't know, safety I just get nervous. I just want to make sure everyone's good and okay. So my dad was like, hey, let me just tie them up above. And I'm like, okay, in the interim, that'll work. Again, we don't do a ton of outdoor shows, so we don't really have a system in place as of now. Going forward, we were like, we had a few hours to think about it between customers. Maybe we'll come up with like an PVC system where we can like reinforce and create extra poles coming down. So we might come up with something. I've got Garden Dad's wheels turning on how he might like rig it, but honestly, even just tying to like the top of our booth made me feel secure. Like at that point, the displays really weren't going anywhere. So this worked. So we always have like a supply bin of extra tools and rope always in there in case we got to rig something up just like this or secure something down. So zip ties and rope are always on hand for us. I highly recommend you add them to your supply or your toolkit too, just in case. So all I had to worry about was the product on those shelves, which isn't gonna hurt anybody, which is the key. It's just annoying because then you have to keep picking up all of your product from the ground or it's going flying, and it's just a hassle all day long. But I mean, wind, could we please, Mother Nature, let's chit chat. Like, can we just stay away from market? We got things to do. Like, let's stick with sun. The wind can come after the markets. We just, no one needs that in their day. In terms of your actual products and your products flying off of shelves or off of tabletops, we reworked things a little bit. So I have embroidery kits that are in this white rack that just kept falling forward, so you couldn't really see what the kits were. They were still in the rack, but they were just kind of leaned forward. There's a couple options with this. I didn't have time for a big rigging, so I just took a couple samples of each kit and put them flat on my table. Ideal? No, but it worked. We still sold a couple embroidery kits, and then I just took the actual rack and just set it down because it wasn't worth me continuing to like push up all of the kits every 5 minutes when the wind just kept blowing them forward. The other option is, and you can see this with my sticker racks, Garden Dad drilled holes into the top of my racks, and we do this regardless of wind. Basically just put a wooden dowel through the top of the sticker rack, and this keeps my bookmarks from falling forward, even on a non-windy day, because it's easy. The shelf line isn't that high, so it's easy for the bookmarks to fall forward and go everywhere. But on a windy day, it doubles as nothing's gonna fall forward. I didn't have any issues with my stickers or my bookmarks falling in the wind. I don't know, it just worked out great. Now you can also do this with like rubber bands. So if you're finding that your stickers, depending on like wind direction, if you're finding that your stickers or your bookmarks or your small items that are light and easy to breezy blow away are flying everywhere, you can rubber band them. You can put them like inside a container, pin up or tape up some samples to like a display board, or like magnet them to a display board temporarily. Food for thought. If you're running into wind all the time, and I know personally things have been getting windier and windier here in New York, it might be worth adapting your displays to just assume it's going to be a windy day whether we love it or not. But having that extra little dowel definitely helps my displays. If I continue to find more wind, we might adapt over to like a magnet system or like a rubber banded system, but for now, it seems to be working great. And honestly, if you have 1 or 2 items that just won't stay upright, don't be afraid to just remove them or move them to a different part of your booth. The wind is probably blowing from one direction. So if you've got a part of your booth where the wind blows less, rearrange your booth, rearrange your items. I had these gift box bundles where I have like a tumbler and a cup cozy and a bookmark and a sticker and a couple fabric coasters in the box bundles, but the boxes are lightweight and they just kept flopping over, which was really kind of like, I mean, I don't mind going to pick it up I do. I mind picking it up every 5 minutes, but like I have little, like tissue, like the little paper bits, and they were just getting everywhere and it's just a mess. So I closed up a couple boxes and I consolidated to just have a couple examples open in a section of my booth. I moved them to a section of my booth that had less wind, and this worked great. I also could probably just weigh down the tops. Like I closed a couple boxes and I could probably just weigh down the tops. That might be something I consider later, but they weren't selling heavily anyway, so it's okay. Don't be afraid to just, pack away a few, just keep out a single sample in a space that's, not getting as much direct wind hits. You can rearrange your booth. Sometimes we got to work on the fly and just do what's going to work. Now, are any of these perfect, aesthetically pleasing solutions? No, it's not as pretty as like my ideal like calm day or indoor market booth setup, but it doesn't need to be perfectly aesthetically pleasing. It's okay. We still had a good sales day. We still had fun at the market. And as promised, I wanted to share my top 5 product categories from this market, because even with the wind and even with my booth not being as pretty as I wanted, I had a great market day. I am so thankful to everyone that came out to the Clinton Art Music Festival. I had so many amazing conversations with people who came out, and I'm just so thankful and so grateful. So I want to share the top 5 product categories with you on products that people were loving and just soaking up. And so coming in at number 5 were my bookmarks and stickers. I love these because it's sort of like bringing a little piece of artwork home with you. It's not like a super big ticket item. I think it's just an easy way to grab like a little something and to bring it home with you without spending the big bucks. So art pins and stickers were my number 5 product category, and they're some of my favorites. Personally, I'm in my reading era. I'm gonna go grab a book probably this afternoon to rest a little bit because I'm exhausted from 2 markets this weekend. So I'm going to be using my bookmarks too to read a fun fantasy dragon book. So anyway, coming in at number 4 are my hometown embroidery hoop ornaments. So these are my New York State hometown embroidery hoops. I hand stitch all of the details on them. So I hand stitch the tree and I hand stitch metallic details around the New York State outline. These are great keepsakes. People love them. And now that we're into the end of August, we're approaching fall, people are starting to think about Christmas gifts, holiday gifts. And I think especially because this event has all the hometown vibes. It has like, if you're a Gilmore Girls fan or like that small town vibes fan, this is the town. Clinton, New York is just so special, and it just gives you all the hometown feels. So I'm not shocked that this was our number 4, but I don't know. It just makes me happy that people are kind of celebrating where they're from and finding those keepsakes. Number 3 were my embroidered letter ornaments. People love these. They're great for hanging up in kids' rooms. Someone had the great idea of they could put it on the doorknob. I don't know, back in the 90s, early 2000s, doorknob hangers and like doorknob, decorations were huge. I would not be shocked if they trend back in at some point, but someone was like, yeah, you could totally put this on kids' room doorknob. Yeah, that's actually a great idea. Because a lot of kiddos like to find their letter and then hang it up in their room, or during the holidays, they can put it, on the Christmas tree. A lot of people buy them for baby showers. So this is just a fun, easy gift. It's embroidered. I do all of the letters by machine. I used to do the letters by hand, but they were taking me hours. So now I do the letter by machine, and then I do the flowers by hand. So they each have like a little hand stitch detail on them. They're a lot of fun. And yeah, it was my number 3 product from this market. Coming in at number 2 are my bags and pouches. And this is a big category for me. I have tote bags. I have like makeup and everyday pouches. I have the art roll-up brush pouches. But within that category, the best-selling pouches from the day were definitely my dog-themed pouches. I sold a bunch of them. This is one of my new patterns. I've had my cat pattern for a long time, but of course everyone was requesting a dog pattern. I'm a dog lover too, so I totally get it. And so I designed this pattern based on my Ellie girl, and I have it available in a bunch of colorways. The fabric is from Spoonflower, and then I sew them all up. I make them so that they're washable, they're easy to, open up and look in. If you've ever like lost your mascara, your lip gloss, or your favorite color paint at the bottom of your pouch, I have them open up. Like the zipper opens enough that you can like get into the bag and really see what's down there. So I'm glad these were popular. I'm glad that Ellie's having her moment since the cats have been, in that top design spot for a while. Ellie's now having her moment with these pouches. So I'm glad they were popular, and those dog pouches came in at number 2. And coming in at number 1, no shock, was our embroidered jewelry. Our embroidered jewelry is always a hit because it's a little bit of stitched art that you can wear, you can use. I had a lot of people buying multiples for gifts or getting ahead on their holiday shopping. So I love the embroidered jewelry. I love making different landscapes, different flowers. I even make just some fun quirky ones like little fish or planets. And they're just a fun little keepsake. It takes me a while to stitch them up, but I think there's something special about having an accessory that you can wear all the time and gift. You don't have to worry about sizing. You don't have to worry about much. You can just sit back and enjoy it and feel a little bit more sparkly in your day. So I'm glad that everyone at this market enjoyed the jewelry as well. So even with a few wind gusts, this was such a good market day. Again, this art and music festival is one of my favorites year after year. Outdoor markets are always an adventure, but being prepared makes all of the difference in the world. I hope you found these tips helpful. And again, I'd love to know your top tips for outdoor markets and securing your booth space against the wind and, well, weather. Let me know what your favorite tips are in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe if you love behind the scenes market content, cozy creative adventures, and creative studio life. I am totally here for you. Until next time, friends, happy stitching.